So good morning. Good morning, good morning. And I'm very excited to be with you guys. More than you know, I just, I had a sister. When I saw this, it's her. You know what I mean? And whenever she got excited, she'd go, and when I saw this, I went, oh, this has got to be, you know. So, and in my excitement, I know that somebody's day is about to change. You see what's going to happen here? That cat's going to make a noise. You know, have you ever had that happen? That startling noise. So my reason for being here is to leave you with something to ponder so that you can change, without it being a 2x4 on the backside or a balloon waking us up in the middle of the night. Right? So I want to share with you prayer. And I loved the fact that I chose this idea about kneeling. I had knee surgery a couple of years ago. I couldn't run across the street kind of thing without the knee just saying, we're not doing that. So I had the knee surgery, and I can now run across the street, but I can't kneel. And I can't do jumping jacks. What's with that? You know, I went to physical therapy, and I went, how come the legs won't move? They're too heavy. They're too heavy to move. It's an odd feeling, very odd feeling. So in my Catholic upbringing, how many of us were raised Catholics? Yeah. And no. I used to say that that I've moved off of my Catholicism, but I haven't. It's inbred in me. But what's changed for me as a Unity minister is that I now have the freedom to go within and seek the wisdom and guidance of God rather than somebody telling me. And I think that's the biggest gift of Unity, that we get to choose to communicate with God. And one of the ways we do that is through prayer. So what is prayer? Next slide, please. Revealing Word. How many of you guys own this? If you don't, get it. You can get it online. You can get it, many different places. But it's the metaphysical interpretation of today's words. So prayer. So if you'll go back one step to the Revealing Word. See, these are things that we know as unitics, but to summarize it. So communion between God and man. That's what prayer is. Prayer is the most highly accelerated mind action known. What's the third tenet? Might be fourth. Now I'm blowing it here. The law of mind action. And we also have a tenet that says through prayer and meditation we communicate with God. So prayer is the most highly accelerated mind action there is. Nothing is faster than prayer. And prayer is more than supplication. How many of us do that? Please, God, please let me blank, blank, blank. Right? And some of us even kneel for that. Because if we kneel, it's a closer relationship with God, right? Not so much. Because every word out of our mouth is a prayer. Everything we think is a prayer. So it's an immediate body assimilation to it. Prayer is more than supplication. It's an affirmation of truth that eternally exists, but which has not yet come into consciousness. Inexhaustible resource of infinite mind, because aren't we taught that there's unlimited supply of everything? And yet, when we listen to the world, we think that there's lack. There isn't enough food. There isn't enough this. There isn't enough that. When in fact, there's plenty. We just haven't tapped into that unlimited resource yet because our prayers are off. Just off. Not wrong, just off. Inexhaustible resources of infinite mind. It is necessary to pray believing that we've received because God is all that we desire. And I know that for some of us, we tend to forget that we do have purpose. And some of us get tangled up with, I'm not contributing, or we feel there's a sense of, I'm not doing enough, or I don't know what to do. And we fall into that pit hole that I'm really not living my true life because I'm not building a house for homeless. Or I'm not doing something that makes it to the front page news. And it diminishes our capacity to understand that we're doing more than that when we use the power of prayer to do that. So I really recommend that you get this. Is that me? No. But thank you. Stop that. Okay. And it will be no more. You see, our mind, our words, and our body need to be in alignment for prayer to work. And most of us are taught we do just one. One of those three. No, I haven't done anything. All right, give it up. Give it up to me. You good with that, guys? Hello, hello, hello. All right, there we go. Thank you. So, prayer. Besides what we've been taught, that if we pray hard enough, it'll happen. How many of us have been taught that? Just keep praying, it'll happen. Well, in the revealing word, it says it's necessary to pray believing that you've received it. So guess what? How many of us, here, I have to get back on track. Unity 101 teaches us that there is plenty of parking spots. Right? When you first came into Unity, you learned that, you can manifest anything you want. And the simplest thing to manifest, I lived in Philadelphia and we needed parking spots. So we learned that when we set out to go someplace, we would not affirm, we need to leave a half an hour early because we're never going to find a parking spot. What a great affirmation of negativity. Instead, we say, parking's mine. It'll be right up front. And there it would be. Because we didn't let anything else into our subconscious mind that negated that. We believed it. Now, that's a simple thing. I understand that. But nevertheless, we have to start with the simple things and move up. And you see, when you've graduated with Unity, all you have to do is make one simple request and you never have to make it again. Because you know it will be. You see? But we have this progress that we have to make. We have to take these baby steps. And then sometimes we take a leap for something that's going on in our lives. Diagnosed with cancer or the loss of a loved one. And we have to take an even bigger leap of how that works. And in the process, we have to believe that what I've requested is for my best good. And you probably already know this, but when we pray for something that involves another human being, don't do that. It's your prayer request. You can't request, I wish so-and-so would do blank, blank, blank. Because that's not yours to do. Your prayer request is rather, I need to get along with that person. What do I need to do to make that okay? And I love the little brief conversation I had this morning with knowing that when we beseech God, that is a prayer. Beseeching is not a bad thing, but there's an easier way, which is to simply say, the divine wisdom within me prepares me for all that awaits me, and it's good. We need to believe it no matter what the outer circumstances are. And that's why so many preachers, shall we call ourselves, invoke the idea of staying away from the news, because negative news pays. Positive news doesn't. So you're not going to get on the 5 o'clock news. You'll see 5 seconds, maybe 10 of good news. Even that blip we saw was probably not the news, but some other sideshow that was on. Because they don't have time for that. And so it's up to us to filter our minds with only that with which we want. to have happen? The good, right? We all want the good. Say, yes, I want good, right? You have to believe that and make it part of your everyday experience. You see, unity is all about being aware of what's happening within you. You have to be conscious of everything you think, say, and do. Last night, I better check the GPS, find out how long it's going to take me to get here. Oh, hour and 16 minutes. Okay. I'll give myself an hour and 40. Because something might happen. That was my thinking. Wrong. Shift. You don't need to plan for something to happen. It's an hour and 16 minutes. That's how long it will take you to get here. So I left giving myself an hour and 12, and I got here an hour and 12. You have to be in alignment with what it is you say you want. And you have to start out with the simple things. And you have to understand you get to. That's the thing about unity. You get to do these things. You don't have to. Heaven is still sitting there waiting for you. You're not going to go to purgatory because you didn't pray right. That's somebody else's religion. In unity, heaven is right here, right now. You don't have to do anything. You can live in hell while you're in heaven. Right? Because hell is right here if you make it so. You get to choose. And the more we are consciously aware of what we're thinking, oh, my back hurts. Oh, that mattress. Hello. Great affirmation. Have a nice day. And we will do that to ourselves all day long. So that doesn't negate the fact that my back hurts, but my prayer is I need to do something so that I minimize that pain rather than giving it the power. You see, the beautiful thing that God created within us is the ability for our minds to create what we want. When you want to know what you're thinking, all you have to do is look in the mirror. This is who we've created. And it's all good. But we'll look in the mirror and go, oh, those sagging eyes. Oh, my God. Or whatever it is that you do. And it's up to us to say, wait, I want something different in my life. And that's the power that we have with individuals. In unity, we get to choose what it is we do or do not want in our lives. And yeah, we can hang around with all the same people, and have like-minded ideas, but really, is that fulfilling? Does it enrich our lives? Next slide, please. I got them. Yeah. I love this quote from Mother Teresa. Let's say it together. I used to pray that God would feed the hungry or do this or that, but now I pray that He will guide me to do whatever I'm supposed to do, what I can do. I used to pray for answers, but now I'm praying for strength. I used to believe that prayer changes things, but now I know that prayer changes us and we change things. So, much like Mr. Nancy said, that, we're in a world today that seems to want to divide us into a group. You're here, or you're there, or you're there, right? And so people will always ask, I don't know how I can make a difference in this year's political environment. Prayer. So what's the prayer request? That's the key. What are we praying for? Are we praying for a particular candidate? Are we praying for a family member to find their way into your opinion? Right? So it's important that we understand what is the prayer request for our political environment. We could pray for, can we all just get along? Right? That was good for a couple of years. But what are we praying for? We're praying for our own individual guidance, our own intelligence to do what we think is right without resentment, without fear, without any strings attached to it. Don't we love gifts that have strings attached? Here's the gift card, but I want you to use it for this thing for this day. Keep your gift card. We have to pray without strings attached. We have to pray knowing that it's going to happen, and then keep our ears, eyes, all of our senses wide awake for the solution. to be there. So I want you all to close your eyes. I want you to trust. No one's going to come and take your pocketbook. I want you to gently close your outer eyes. And I want you to imagine going to the theater, the movie theater today. And you walk in and you want to buy your tickets and you're bombarded with a smell of melting cooked popcorn. It's double coated with plenty of butter. You can smell it. You're infusing your sinuses. Everything about you can taste it. Yep, I'll take a bucket of those, please. Now gently open your eyes. How many of you are having popcorn later today? Right? Now here's the thing. It's imagination, right? We imagine because we all know what buttered popcorn smells and tastes like. Whether it's good for us is irrelevant. We know what it tastes like. And so it's amazing how we create the falseness with our senses. It wasn't real, was it? But our bodies will respond as if it's real. And that's what prayer is about. When we put ourselves in a situation, because our bodies are made by God to respond to our thoughts. That's its function. And so when we say our back hurts, the body will go into making sure that it hurts. That's its job. And then we diminish or we chastise our bodies for doing what it is you said you wanted them to do. You see? So when we're Myrtle Fillmore, she had this miraculous healing. So what did she do? She stopped affirming the negative aspects of her body. She was plagued with tuberculosis. She's gone. Every family member died at a young age. She was set in line to do that. When she got this epiphany that said, hey, wait a second. You don't inherit disease. She's like, but, no, you don't. But. Then she said, well, what have I got to lose? So she changed her mind. And she started affirming every part of her body as being whole and perfect and filled with all that it needed to be a perfect specimen of a human being. She lived another 50 years with no more symptoms of tuberculosis. The lungs were cleared. So some would call that a miracle. It really isn't. Because I firmly believe there are no miracles and there is no luck. It's all consciousness. She wanted that. And she made her mind and her body respond to her will. And we can do all of that too. But we've been conditioned not to. And that's where we have to change our minds. We've been conditioned that we can only do so much. And I firmly believe that Jesus figured that out. And that's why he could stop the rain while he's on a boat that's tipping over. Why are you so afraid? Just make it go away. Okay, boom. And the seas calmed down. I was riding in a car one time going from Cape May to, there was some bridge. I remember very clearly who I was with, a Unity minister, and I was not a Unity minister yet. And the rain was just coming down, beating down, where the wipers couldn't go fast enough. You know that whole thing? And I went, dang, it's hard to see. And she said, would you like me to fix that? Sure. Like, what do you got? And she said, just stop. And I kid you not, my car no longer was getting pelted with rain. Left and right were, I was going through this straight, no rain. And from that moment, I knew that it was possible. I could do anything I want to. I have to believe enough that I can. And that's the hard part. Because we've been told that Jesus was the one, the only one. Jesus showed us that we could do this and more. So when I hear things like, what's that word? Environmental issues are going to ruin our world. Breathe. Breathe, Mo. Don't say what you want to say here. It is harming our world on some level, however you want to define that. but it's up to us to change it. Now, how do we do that? Sure, we can recycle. Absolutely. We can make a lot of physical changes, stop polluting the water, I get that. And we should all continue to do that. But the one thing we can do is we change our minds about how the world is operating. Because where two or more are gathered together, there God is in the midst of you. This room can change the world when we all think alike in a sense of prayer. So what would be our prayer request? Father, let me do, or God, Mother, Father, God, however you term that indwelling spirit within you, let me be an instrument of peace to make a difference. And you will find ways. They will come to you. You just have to open your eyes and see them. You might have to smell them. You might have to feel them, because the senses will guide you to that solution. Because you can make a difference with your prayers. So as far as this election is concerned, some 40 days away now. Today's the 29th, 46, oh my God, 47 days from now. My prayer request is, and by no means should you replicate this unless you're guided to do so, is that it's a peaceful transition. That's my prayer request, and I want that very badly. Whatever the solution is in between. May we stop the infighting and all of that stuff. So, what should I do? Stop my own infighting. Pave the way for the success of that happening. So when I hear somebody who's going to vote the way that I wouldn't vote, instead of me, tell me more. And I learn a lot of stuff. When you ask somebody to share with you why they're making that choice, you learn a lot. You're not there to change them. You're just changing the way you respond to another human being. Because isn't that how we all get along? It's okay to have differences of opinion. That's the beauty of the human nature. We don't have to follow like a flock. We have individual minds. So in order for us to get this psychological element of God working in our lives, we do that by prayer. Prayer does it. We have to open our minds and our hearts to understand what it is we're doing that is negatively impacting our family life, our individual health, the neighbors, whatever it is. We get to choose to change our minds about that. And we do that by prayer. We put it out there that this is what you would like to have happen, and God will give you the opportunity to do just that. And you will find things that you never even thought possible. It doesn't mean that you're going to go build an apartment building. It might. But it's about you and your own indwelling. Are you open and receptive to all that happens around you, or are you closed-minded? Are you willing to see God in another human being that they may not know that God exists? You get to see that for them. And this room here can make a difference. I know when Nancy was going through ministerial school, and God bless her for going through all of that, you guys had a prayer request for her. And it manifested. It didn't look the way that she thought it was going to look, but by golly, she got there. She had to stay open and receptive to the unfoldment of it all. Because each of us is on a different path. I remember, I've been in Unity for over 40 years. And I walked in as a youngster. And I'm very, very grateful with that. And I can recall knowing I wanted to be in the ministry. There was never a question about that. But there were roadblocks after roadblocks. And after the last roadblock, I said, you know what? Kiss my goodbye, I'm done. If I'm not supposed to be a minister, then I got to move on. And I said jokingly, call me when you're ready, God. And I hung up the phone. That imaginary phone. Dang, it wasn't 6 months later that phone rang. Saying, yo, Mo, why don't you come back up to Philly? We got a spot for you. You can get into ministerial school. You know what I said? True story. But I just bought this house. And the guy on the phone said, Mo, I think there'll be a lot of houses in your life. Don't worry about it. I had to remember that that's what I've been asking for that I was getting the call. And here it was. It didn't look the way I thought it would look, but there it was. And so we got to keep our minds open to what it is we're asking for, because God does answer all prayers. What we get stuck on, if I allotted my time, it says I got 30 more minutes. Is that true? Oh. Never give a minister a mic. You know, that's... But seriously, be mindful. So I have one more slide for you I want to share with you. Train your mind to see the good in everything. Positively is a choice. The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. What are you thinking? Because when you spend the energy on negative thinking, the law of mind action will put those negative thoughts into play. Don't talk negatively about your body. Thank your bowels every day. Thank coffee. Be grateful. You only got 5 hours of sleep. Be grateful you got the 5. You know, everything you do, be grateful for. And the body will respond. The body will respond. When your nose starts to run and you got the sniffles and you're sneezing, what's your prayer request? Make the nose stop running? No. May I find the healthy solution to resolve why my body feels the need to eliminate. You guys heard of chemicalization? It's kind of a quiet term out there. You know, it was very popular with Emily Cady, wrote about it in her book. The book is... It'll come to me. But she believes, and it happened to me, and I'm sure it's happened to you, the number 2 reason people don't stay in unity. You know what the number 1 is? They didn't feel welcome. You guys did a fabulous job with that, by the way. You know, you're welcoming. That's awesome. The number 2 reason is they get sick. It's chemicalization. They start to believe what they're being told, and the body goes, whoa, you're telling me I'm healthy and whole? Well, then I got to get rid of this crap. The nose starts to run, a headache, whole manner of things. And they go, I'm not staying here. I get sick every time I show up there. It's true. Because chemicalization is the body releasing what no longer serves us. And so as you take in this notion, 1, that God answers all prayers. 2, what we think, say, and feel are real to our bodies. So your homework. I think there's one more coming, right? Yes. Your mind will always believe everything you tell it. Feed it hope, feed it truth, feed it with love. Don't negative think your body. So your homework is very simple, and you might go through some chemicalization with it, but that's part of the process. What one thing in your body that you wish were different? Charles Fillmore, he had a short leg due to an accident, right? So I can imagine he's like that. He wore a lift, you know, all that stuff. He got his leg in his 40s to grow 3 inches. Excuse me? How do you do that? He willed it to happen. So what area of your life, your body, would you like to be different? And is your prayer request in a positive vein? Because prayer is the answer, for God answers all prayers. You have to believe that. And your job is to make sure that the prayer is what you really want to have happen. Not what someone else wants you to have, but what do you want within you to have happen? And it will manifest itself for you. You have to believe it. So your homework, find one area of your body and look at it. What are you saying about it that you need to change to make it more positive about who you really are? And I really do believe that Jesus had that down, that he just didn't fill his mind with any negativity. He believed what he was doing was for the betterment of all humankind. And it's true for each and every one of you as well. Are you helping your children, your grandchildren, your neighbors with positive thoughts? Are you telling them, get off my lawn? You know? versus why do you feel the need to be on my lawn? Changes. So consciousness, be aware of what you're thinking and change your mind. And you will feel much better and more connected with yourself, with God, and with other human beings. What have you got to lose? You have everything to gain. And I believe that that's what Myrtle said. If I'm supposed to die, it's going out my way. If I'm not supposed to die, let's change it. And she started from her toes and spoke only positive thoughts about everything in her body. I just got back from Europe, spent 21 days abroad, and I haven't been very comfortable climbing up and down stairs. The knees really talk. That's all I did, was climb up and down stairs, walk on uneven terrain, and every step I took, you're doing great, body. You're doing great, knees. You're doing far better than I could have ever imagined, and I did it. Never fell, never slipped up, and I was better than physical therapy. But easily I could have fallen into that old pattern. Not another staircase, for God's sakes. You know, so we're in this cute little island, Santorini. Beautiful, by the way. And there's a cable car that takes you down. So the bus driver told us, there's a few stairs. As soon as he said few, I knew exactly what he was talking about. I went, how many flights? Right? Well, it turned out to be 8 flights up. There were some breaks. And he said, it's just around the corner, 4 more flights. Made it to the top, and I'm thinking, great, cable ride home. We're good. Move on. Did my shopping, wandered around this beautiful place. When my beloved partner says, how do you feel about climbing down the stairs instead of the cable car? I said, are you out of your bloody mind? There's no, it's not going to happen. So we're sitting over this veranda, having a spritzer. Beautiful spritzers are really cool. And we're seeing the stairwell down. And I went, you want me to, what? But it turned out to be like 8 steps, a flat line, 8 steps, flat line. And I said, we're not in a rush, right? No. I said, you know what, I'll do it. Climbing down those stairs was the easiest thing that I'd done. The hard part was the donkeys. That's what I said. Donkeys. They had donkeys climbing people up the stairs, and they had donkeys climbing people down the stairs. A few dollars, you can take a donkey down, or a few dollars, you can take a donkey up. So I'm holding on for dear life on a banister that doesn't exist, knowing I've just done half the way, and I hear the bells of the donkeys coming. So I turn and look this way. I'm pushed against the wall, donkey's right here. I saw snot out of its nose. It was that close. But I said, I'm healthy, whole, perfect, don't worry about it, everything's good. You're not going to die today due to a donkey. But boy, you have to constantly pay attention. And that's the real homework. Pay attention to what you're thinking about yourself and your situations, whatever they are. Pay attention. If you find there are negative thoughts there, change your mind. It's the best thing you can give yourself, the people around you, and your family and friends. Think only positive thoughts about them, no matter what they're doing to, for you, or whatever. Make it positive, because it does make a difference, and you will make a difference for everyone around you. So God bless. Thank you. So there's 2 books I want to show to you that changed my life when I got into Unity. These were cult books. They still are. Some of you are familiar with Illusions, The Adventures of the Reluctant Messiah. It's an awesome book. This guy is called, and he doesn't have a clue what he's supposed to do. So he meets somebody who shows him how to do it. It's a great book. The other one is 2150. It's kind of a quiet sleeper, another cult book. Both of these are available online. And the 2150 is this guy that is disabled. He's got a disability. And he goes to sleep, and he wakes up in a real world where he's no longer disabled. And then he wakes up to his disabled life. And he changes his mind about his disability. It's a great book. It's a great book, both of them, 2150, and Illusions, The Adventures of a Reluctant Messiah. They're both great stuff. I'm out of here.
All right, Mo. Reverend Mo, there you go. Great job.